Understand that when Adam sinned in the garden, three abnormalities occurred. What are those three abnormalities? By Adam's sin, man became unrighteous. By Adam's sin, man became ungodly. By Adam's sin, man became unholy. Did you hear what I said? By Adam's sin, man became what? By Adam's sin, man became what? By Adam's sin, man became what? Now, what does it mean to be righteous? It means to have a right relationship with God. So from the perspective of God, you are right. Are you with me? So when Adam sinned and decided to rebel against his king, his relationship with God became what? Unrighteous. He was now one that had a rebellion sentence on his head and could no longer do business with a God that is perfect. What do we mean by Adam became ungodly? When God created man with God at his center. So the core of man was driven by God. To be godly is to be God-centered. That everything that drives your life emanates from God. So it is God that gives you pleasure. So Paul was telling Timothy that in the last days, the way you will identify these people is that they will be one, lovers of what? Pleasure. Rather than what? Lovers of God. So they will no longer be God-centered. They will be what? Self-centered. So it is what pleases me that drives my existence, not what pleases God. And it was self that was at the center of the temptation in the garden. You remember that? Self. He says, did God say you should not eat of all the trees? And I say, no, God said we should not eat of this one. Neither should we touch it, lest we die. Then the serpent says to the woman, he says, no, you shall not die. God knows that in the day that you eat it, you will become wise. Your eyes will be opened and you will be like... Sure, you know that if you look at that thing carefully, Satan was tempting Adam and Eve with the same ambitions that he had. No, you're not. You didn't see it. Remember, the reason he was cast out from heaven is that even though he was created perfect, and he was one that was designed beautiful, the Bible says iniquity was found where? And by the time they traced the iniquity, they began to find out that one of his major ambitions was, I will ascend to the heavens and I will be like the Most High. Self. So when he came to Adam and Eve and said, you will be like God, he was offering them the same ambition that he had. That you don't need to be under God. You can be independent and be a God to yourself. Are you with me? So what Satan offered to Adam and Eve was, don't make God the center of your life. Uproot God from the throne of your heart and put self. So man became what? Ungodly. But man was not only ungodly, man became unholy. And what does it mean to be holy? I've taught you before. It's not just to be clean. It's not just to be pure. It is to be consecrated, separated unto God. Such that it is only the Spirit of the Lord that has authority to operate your vessel. So God is your King. He is your Master. He is your Lord. He has absolute authority over your life. Only He is the one that receives your worship, receives your absolute loyalty. Only He do you bow before. Your life is spent on His altar. But by Adam's fall, man became unrighteous. Man became ungodly. Man became unholy. So when the Bible says Noah was a just man, he's saying that his relationship with God was properly restored. So in a generation where every man had become a lover of pleasure, pursuing his own agenda, Noah had a right relationship with God. As if that's not enough, he says he was perfect in his generation. What does that mean? That even though everybody was unholy, Noah separated himself unto God. And he did what? Walked with God. He made God the center of his life. So in a generation that had become so compromised and so broken that the heart of God was grieved, a man found a way to find order. Oh my God. He found a way to restore order to his own life. So he was holy, he was godly, he was what? Righteous. This is why he found grace in the sight of God. And my emphasis when we began this teaching is Noah is a witness. You see, when we get to heaven, many lives of many men will be witnesses to other men that what you said was your weakness, other men survived it. So when you appear before the throne of God, there will be no excuse. The same temptation that faced you is what Angela faced, and she did not fornicate. So the same flesh that you wore, that was your temporary house, and you say, it's my flesh, it's my flesh. God will show you that even Nonso's flesh was thicker than your own. His own pomade. Have you seen some people's skin? You use the best cream. The skin is factory fitted to be dry. The flesh is thick. You will see people who their fallen nature was heavy. But like Noah, they found a way to be godly. They found a way to be holy. They found a way to be right with God. So Noah was a witness. He was the testimony against his generation that they did not have an excuse. Give me this verse in NLT.